Oh, John.
Hi, Bubba. How are you?
All right.
That time is exactly 12 o'clock. All right, here we go. All right, time is 12 o'clock. Time to start the meeting. Today is July 12th, 2020. August 12th. Or August 11th. 9th. 2022. August 9th, 2022. I looked at up there approval of minutes and I'm like, we're ready. Let's go. All right. All right, we're going to start off with, I guess we'll start off with the B section on number 3 so that we can kind of get that set forth first. So.
Good afternoon, board, and thank you for indulging me. But I did want to personally kind of discuss this item with you, because I think I really want your input. So Casey's been here 7 months now. 8, 7?
January,
Yeah. And at this time of year is when I do her evaluation to kind of give her an idea of where she stands, the things that where she's performed well, or any areas that need additional work. But since this was kind of a very unique position here at the City of Odessa, it's one that, yes, answers to me, but however, works directly with you as a board. And so I wanted to, number one, again, I wanted to give you my thoughts, ideas, but moreover, I really wanted to solicit yours. This year has been, I think, certainly when we look at last year and the year before, the COVID years, we really didn't have a lot going on. And as a result, we had a lot of pent-up demand, I think, for our events this year. If you look at attendance at our events, you look at the number of people who have shown up, the number of vendors that have participated, and these things we're kind of having to relearn, right, since we've been absent for 2 years. But overall, I think that those have been successful, and I hope that you will agree as well. From a coordination standpoint, and really looking at how Casey has approached each one of these events. There usually starts with a conversation, I know, among her and her staff, but then it starts with me. And I'll tell you, I don't contribute a whole lot other than some thoughts and observations. But by and large, what I see now is a much better thought process as we go into these events. There's a lot more consideration that's given in terms of strategically, is this the right event to have, to who are the partners involved, who needs to be, who's the market, right? Who's the target, if you will, and then generally, how do we marshal all of the city resources? I think the comments I get back from my folks and the other departments is that they really enjoy working with Casey and the team, simply because I think things are laid out in a really easy way that it makes that transition into the event pretty good. In terms of kind of her day-to-day activity, my observation is that that is something that I look forward to. She and I meet on a weekly basis. As you can imagine, with so many direct reports, it's difficult for me to give anybody, a lot of one-on-one time. And so when she comes in and provides me her reports, generally I'll have some knowledge about what's going to be discussed. But more importantly, all that information, again, is laid out for me. Now, I will say that there have been some hiccups. There have been things that kind of post-event, if you will, that she and I have discussed, where we said, look, we've got to look at these areas a little bit better. We've got to think those through, learn from every event that you have, because as we move forward, rather, we want to make sure that we avoid those in the future. From the standpoint of economic development, one of the things that I have tasked her is to let's get more things working as it relates to downtown and businesses in downtown. That's a little harder to do, right, than one would think. We all think, and then certainly you wouldn't be on this board if you didn't believe it, but downtown is the right place for any new business that's looking to come to Odessa or to relocate to Odessa. But the challenge of that is that there are limitations in terms of available property. I think the city has done a great job in making facade grants available, infrastructure grants available for folks, and I think that's made it easier. What we see and what you typically see is a lot of existing businesses taking advantage of it, but then we have some new ones that are taking advantage of it as well. I think what Casey and her staff have done is be more active in that area. I think you've seen those move a little faster than they have in the past. I think for a number of years, the pushback that we got on our facade grants and infrastructure is that the process took too long. I think we found ways to shorten that up and get that more streamlined, but more important to get that information back out to the public. I think when she does her presentations to you as a group, I think she does a really good job. She certainly does a good job as it relates to the city council. So generally, my observations have been pretty positive in terms of her performance as executive director. But as I said, the reason I'm here today is because I want some feedback from you guys. I know that there probably hasn't been 100% alignment on on a few things rather, but I think my sense is that by and large there has been pretty good consensus. So I just really wanted to kind of put that out there. You're more than welcome to tell me today, or if you'd like to send me an email. I intend to wrap up her evaluation within the next week and a half or so. Again, it's important for me to get your feedback. It's important for you to tell me, because my job then will be is to make sure that we're going in a direction that we all think is best for the city of Odessa, and specifically for downtown Odessa.
Well, as president, I'll start. I can tell you that, we've had a couple little bumps and everything like that, but the best thing about it is that Casey has adapted. She's overcame. She is a conformist, and that's all you can really ask of anybody. Hey, if there's something that we don't agree with or whatever on that, she's very accommodating and willing to work with us on anything that we have. I think you've done a great job, Casey. Especially after the firecracker fandango. I mean, that's, to actually turn a profit on that, it's phenomenal. And I know it takes a lot of collaboration, everything to do that, but you were at the head of that and getting that done. So, you get the credit for it. So, it's a good job.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Again, repeating some of the things he said, it hasn't been perfect. There's been a few speed bumps. She's adapted well. She's not scared of saying, what do you think of this? What's worked in the past? What's not worked?
Sure.
Very seldom, or I don't think I've ever heard her say, I did this, I did that. It's always we, team, and this, which I really appreciate.
Good.
I think she's totally worked her butt off and done a great job. I will say I think she has gave us 100%. She hasn't held back.
Thank you, John.
I think she's done a good job.
Any other comments?
I would say that too. I do see that there's more media attention to downtown, quite a bit more, and how important I think the downtown is.
Sure.
Toby and I do, and so I think we aligned our goals there. With it being downtown, that's what it is. It's not about the hotel. It's not about any one business. It's about bringing people downtown.
Sure.
And so Casey gets that. She works with our hotel. She works with the Ector. She works with Starbucks. I see her working with everyone. So we appreciate that.
One other thing, Michael.
Yes, sir.
One thing with the interview process, she didn't check all the boxes.
No, she
She
didn't.
truly did not. And I'm really proud that everybody reached out and said, you know what? She doesn't check all the boxes, but with her enthusiasm, and her husband's probably jealous because she's so much in love with Odessa and maybe not as much with him at times. But I'm proud we decided to bend the rules a little bit and not go by everything, and every box had to be checked. And so I'm glad we did that.
Very good.
I agree with that. One more thing, I remember we were looking at people in Denver and all over the country and all that stuff, and we found somebody hometown, homegrown. Hey, you can't ask for anything better than that. She's going to have more pride than anybody coming in from Denver. I can tell you that. So, it's worked out great. I didn't know Casey other than meeting her when she came on board, and I couldn't be happier. So I don't see any reason to change. I don't see any reason to give her any bad marks on that. I think she's done a great job. I think I would have, personally, going in that position, I probably would have made 10 times the errors that, that we discussed, as far as little bumps, I'd have made way more than that.
Sure.
So, and I probably wouldn't have handled them as diplomatically as she did either. So, I think she's done a great job. So,
Thank you.
And I'll add to it. I think you present very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Guys, let me just say I appreciate your input. Also, if you have any other thoughts after this meeting, please feel free to email me. if you have any thoughts beyond this meeting, please let me know. Again, we appreciate your service on the board. This organization, or rather this department, would not function without you. There's a lot of things that we do on a day-to-day basis in terms of running the city department, but when it comes to providing the direction, when it comes to providing the guidance, I want to say to you, thank you for helping Casey and me get that done. Namely Casey, I'm not going to take any credit, she does. But I appreciate all your input, and again, I'm available if any of you guys have any additional thoughts.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.
I think we should keep her around.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
you
thank
should get rid of me and
you
keep her
for
around.
jumping
That's
around on that.
Well,
Well,
we'll discuss that later.
we'll discuss that later. Well, I guess we can start back off at 1, right?
Yes.
Approval of minutes for July 12th, 2022.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
We got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved.
Say aye. I can't say aye, never mind, sorry.
Approved, okay. All right, review of July 2022 financials.
Yes, so the first page that you'll see is July alone. So in July, we brought in a net revenue of $3,018.93. The next page will break that down, and Audrey and I worked really hard to make this larger because we know that it was small. It's still small, but we've got it a little bit bigger, so hopefully that's more legible for you. This is going to show you that our revenue came from Firecracker Fandango, and that's where that $3,000 was generated from. So a little bit from Hot Summer Nights, and then the rest from Fandango. The next page will be a statement of financial position as of July 31st. So this will be your year to date. Year to date, our current assets are $211,872.87. We started our fiscal year at $145,000. So we're doing really well this year. So. The next page, again, it's small, but we have blown it up a little bit to show the breakdown of each event and where that additional revenue was generated. So the first page tells you the overall, and then this breaks it down by event to show which events we've generated the most income from, or income at all. So any questions on that?
Do you know if we have breakdowns of some of the events from last year where we lost money?
I can look. We switched over to QuickBooks Online, and the only thing that I really have is potentially historical files. So I can look through those historical files and see what I can get, and I can bring that to the next board meeting if you guys would like to review it by event. The only issue would be in 2021, there weren't a lot of actual events. So the last year that we had actual in-person events would be 2019. So if you guys would like me to bring data from 2019 events to see how we're comparing currently, I can do that.
Yeah, that'd be better.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, that way we can see.
Okay.
Ideally,
I mean,
obviously it's improved. So, it would be good to kind of compare and see what the differences are. And
I like that, where we've discussed deleting some events and events that didn't work in the past, to kind of say, hey, this event, the turnout was this, we lost this much money, and
Sure.
some of the reasons why you want to change them to some better things. Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
What I'll do is I'll do a historical breakdown of events that we've had from 2019 to current, and if we had them, what the revenue was, sales were, things like
And
that.
just simple. We
Sure,
don't have to
so
have
we
every
can
little
compare.
thing. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Thank
I can get that done.
you. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minute, or to approve the financials.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. All right. Okay, number 3 on the new business, are we just going to the grant tier update? He kind of covered A and B on that, right?
Well, the
Michael
event coordinator position, We had offered the position to someone. They did not pass the background check, and so we reopened it. I had interviews last week and this week. I have offered the position to someone. We're waiting for HR to make the official offer and then to see if she's going to accept it. So we're hopeful about that. Also, we have an update on our admin position. Audrey has put in her notice. She's accepted a position with ECISD. We can't blame her.
Yeah.
It's right up her alley. It's going to be a fantastic position for her. She's going to be doing international studies, which is what she went to college for. And she gets to travel internationally 6 times a year. And so it's going to be huge. It's going to be great. We wrote her a great recommendation, and she did get the job. She's going to give us 3 weeks notice. Her last day is going to be August 26th. And so I spoke to HR this morning, and we are getting the admin position entered. Audrey's working on making a manual for her position of all the things that she does, and a step-by-step guide, because I'm going to, in essence, be training 2 people at the same time. And so we're hoping to get someone in that position quickly. Audrey's going to work on that manual, and then potentially sit with them for at least a week, and then we'll be on the road. So we're very sad to see her leave,
Congratulations.
but she's going to do great things. So we're excited for her. So
At least you're staying in Odessa.
yes, and I told her I'm going to have her number on speed dial, and so and then just Sean's last day is the 19th, and so he did fantastic for us, and so we're sad to see him go too. But
You did, Deshaun. Great job, Deshaun. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
he did fantastic. So, and then for the grant tier update for C, I think everybody got a copy. I don't think you got a copy. I met with the ODC board, and we were trying to figure out ways to get the community more invested in our grant program. We have not had a lot of action in our tiers 3 and 4. So the first map that you're looking at is our current tier map that shows all 4 tiers. Tier 3 and 4, we've had no movement in, and in an effort to drum up some interest in those areas, the ODC has requested that we make the change to the second map that you see, which would be expanding tier 1 to encompass the previous tier 1 and 2, and then tier 2 would encompass tiers previously 3 and 4. So we would just have 2 tiers. It would offer up more funds for those folks in the out areas of downtown, and so the ODC board has approved it. I presented it at work session last week to the council, and then we'll go tonight and do our first reading. So I wanted you guys to be aware of what's happening. I know y'all are all big advocates for us out in the community, talking to people about the tiers and the grants. So I wanted you to have the most up-to-date information. It hasn't been approved, so this is not final yet. As soon as it is, I'll let you know. But once that is finalized, we have finances set aside. We're going to do a big media blitz and try to get everybody involved and informed about the new changes. So any questions on that?
Casey, kind of a question. I mean, and you may not have an exact amount. How much money do we have in this program? Because I don't want to super push it. That could be y'all also. Super push it and say, hey, we're doing all this, then all of a sudden, sorry, out of money.
Yeah, I'm not sure, John. That's a great question. That would be a question for ODC, but I can definitely reach out to them and find out. It's my understanding that there wasn't a concern of them running out of money for this program, but I can definitely find out and ask, because that's a good concern. I mean, if we're pushing this out and doing a big media blitz and then we get all this interest and then they're like, oh, wait, hold on, we don't have enough money, that would be an issue. So I'll find out for you.
Well, the way they expand it sounds like they do, because I mean, you know, that's a pretty big expansion.
It's a hefty
there, so-
expansion,
Yeah,
right?
so I think
because
I don't think they. Yeah.
Tier 4 was 25%, and
Yeah.
now
So
it's
now all this will be
175.
75%. The blue is still 100.
Correct.
The other tier is 75%
Yes.
of the dollars.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So, and we've had a lot of interest recently in grants, so I'm hoping this will even drum up
Perfect.
more.
I think
so.
it'll help.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll find out.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the grant tier update?
I think that's a good
I
idea.
think it's good.
Perfect. On events, I just wanted to do a quick social media update. So I just ran some numbers right before I came, just because social media is how we are getting our information out a lot of the times. It's almost free, it's very inexpensive, and we have a large following. So I did a comparison, January to July of 2021. We had on our Facebook 69,910 impressions between that time. On Instagram, we had 1,990 impressions on Instagram between January to July of 21. So remember 69,000. In January to July of 2022, on Facebook alone, we had 159,289 impressions. Almost 100,000 more impressions on Facebook. And then on Instagram, we went from 1,900 to 26,409. So it was huge. We had a huge jump. Jashawn made a huge impression on our social media. And I think just having consistent events, going back to having those events and being consistent, we've really worked on pushing out local businesses, highlighting what the downtown businesses have going on. If they have a special or something, we're making sure that we're staying active. And I just wanted to highlight what a great improvement that's been just in the first 7 months of this year, how much we've done. So just to highlight that and to say thanks to Jashawn, because
Good job.
Instagram was all him. I mean, I think a large majority of that came from May to July, when he was he totally revamped our Instagram and made it more cohesive, and it's done a lot for us. So very thankful.
Who's going to continue that?
So when hiring the new event coordinator, that was part of it, was their familiarity with social media, because I have just enough knowledge to be dangerous. It's not my forte. And so they're very familiar with it. They were a communications director back where they're from in Texarkana, and so they ran all the social media accounts, did all the marketing. They're very familiar with Adobe, and so all of the previous flyers we can just update and not create the wheel again. So I think that person is going to be really in tune with that. So
That's great.
yes.
Great.
Thanks.
Hot Summer Nights, we wrapped up on the 29th, the last Friday in July. We had the art exhibit, the art, what do they call it, the art walk. And then we also had the winner of Battle of the Bands. That was our largest turnout outside. We had about 400 people out at that concert and art show. It was a great event. We did have one complaint. We got one citizen complaint on the art. The art, there was a couple of pieces that were she found inappropriate, and so she took pictures and sent them to Steve Patton at Parks. That she assumed that it was him that would be it. So he forwarded that to me. I met with Michael and discussed it with Odessa Arts, and our policy moving forward will be that we approve all of the art. It was a skeleton hands on the back of a female. It was painted. I didn't find it terribly outrageous, but we will make sure moving forward that there's no nudity at an event. Again, this was a partnered event, so it was
There wasn't any nudity in the photo. I mean, in the painting, was there?
It was the back end of a female painted
Her back?
Her back?
her butt.
Oh,
Oh, her butt.
oh okay.
Yeah, with
Oh,
skeleton
okay.
hands on it.
Oh.
Back-
Wait, hold on, wait.
Yes.
That's okay, because it's Park's fault, not ours.
Well, it was a partnered event and that on that portion,
Okay.
but I take responsibility for it. And so what we've done is that moving forward, if we have any art events moving forward, I've created a policy where we have to approve any artwork that's going to be displayed. Just because we do want to make sure that it's a family-friendly event and we're not offending anyone.
Yeah.
So again, lesson learned. We'll know moving forward, and that won't happen again. So that was our only complaint. Everybody else had a great time.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
No skeleton butts. Got it.
Right.
Skeleton
Yes.
hands
No
on the butt.
skeleton booties in the future. So we are looking at. That one was very successful. The previous Hot Summer Nights, we only had about 80 to 150 attendees outside. It was super hot. It's a lot to have it outside. And so I'm working with Odessa Arts. My vision is instead of having 8 pretty okay concerts, if we cut that to 4 and double the budget on those 4 and brought in maybe bigger bands, different, something different, that just because we have it's been 8 concerts for 27 years. I don't think it necessarily has to stay that way if it's not being beneficial to the program. And so if we cut that in half and did 4 weeks, what would that look like? What would the response be? And then we can really put a lot of effort into those 4. So I wanted to see y'all's thoughts.
How was the attendance at the Ector, and how was the attendance outside? Because it was stupid hot this year.
Yeah.
It was extremely hot. So at the Ector, we ranged between 250 and 400. Again, outside, our lowest was about 75, 70. Our very first one was about 70, 75. And then our largest one was about 400. So on average, it was about 100 each night at the park, and it was about 250 at the Ector.
Casey, do you think if we swapped them and put the outside events in June and then the Ector in July? Because it's
We've
typically
talked about
a little
that.
cooler in June.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We've talked about what that would look like. We've talked about just having it at the Ector. We've talked about, are we doing a good job with bringing in the acts that were chosen? I noticed a large increase on acts that had never been to Odessa before. Stephanie Urbina Jones had never been to Odessa before for Hot Summer Nights. Several of the acts come back every single year, and so I've talked to Odessa Arts, and I want our office to have a say in what acts are being chosen.
I agree.
Yeah.
We don't have a say in that. And so I've asked if we can either put a panel together to make it a group decision, or at least someone from my office to have a say and make that.
It used to be a panel decision.
It used to be a panel
it was.
decision, and then it's not anymore. And again, I think the acts are repeating themselves, and so we've thrown around ideas of, if we have 4, do we do a different genre every night? So we have a country night, a Tejano night, we have a rock night. They've not had rock in a long time. They've not had any kind of like R&B or anything like that at a Hot Summer Night. So again, going back to, I want to make sure that we're spreading our fingers out across the entire city, and how can we do that? And I think if we're opening ourselves up and our events up to reach a different demographic, I think that might help us. So those are kind of things that we're tossing around, but I wanted to get y'all's feedback.
How did the jazz one at the Ector do?
I was not there, but I heard that it was not great.
Wow.
There was some complaints. There was, it just wasn't exciting, is the reviews that I got.
I don't think it was as well attended as
It
the year
wasn't,
before, yeah.
no.
But we got a lot of good feedback from the ones that did go. They always, the people that play it and the people that go to it.
Yes,
But I don't think it was as well attended.
right.
We weren't here either, so.
I'd be
I
okay
can't
with
speak
cutting
for
it
them.
back, but
I'd
I
be
think,
okay.
like she said, with a panel, because usually wasn't it 2 from Main Street and 2 from Odessa Arts that did it?
Okay,
Well, and I think just from being in the past, being with downtown and Main Street, you know, it gets old, 8, I mean, you think about it as a volunteer perspective, 8 Fridays.
Well, and as staff, you know, my staff
know,
has to be
and
there every single
so
Friday from
I think you
June
might
to
have a better
to-
turnout
yeah.
with volunteers too, with
Yeah.
having 4 instead of 8.
Well, and at the Ector, there's not a lot of volunteer needed because Adam does a great job. He's already got everything set up. We go in, set up our cameras. He lets us store all of our stuff at the Ector, so we don't have to carry anything out or do anything. He has a snack bar. We don't have to rent light towers. We don't have to rent restrooms. I don't have to schedule food trucks to come out. We don't have to get with an electrician to take care of the city box. So there's a lot of infrastructure that goes into the park that we don't have at the Ector.
Maybe you change the name to Downtown Summer Nights instead of Hot Summer Nights, and then
Well, and we've also talked about, do we spread it out and change it from Hot Summer Nights and we have a concert a quarter? Do we have, you know,
Well, I think in the summertime we can go 4 and alternate, not do it every weekend. Do one weekend, skip a weekend, do
Yeah,
another
4
weekend.
concerts over 8
It'll
weeks.
spread it out.
oh, that's a
it'll
good idea.
spread
So
it out.
2 in July,
I
2
think
in
the
June.
idea of this was for the community to have entertainment throughout the
Throughout the
summer. I
summer.
think I don't like going away from that.
Sure, okay.
And personally,
Every 2 weeks, I mean, you would still cover 2
I remember in
nights, right?
2018, 17, 18, Mariachi, some of the groups we had, I remember going consecutively and the park was packed and it was hot. If I was sweating, it's hot to me at
Right.
95 degrees, whatever.
Yeah,
And I think it's really a review of the acts, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree.
agree.
Well, that's, yeah.
I was not interested at all in the San Antonio Girl. But I was like, it's at the Ector. I had to work late. Chris was like, let's go. And I enjoyed it because it was comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and so I think some of it's convenience. I think July, that's when we go out of town. I mean, that's when, you know, we're gone more.
That's
with
what we
the
talked
girls
about. Yeah, July is a hard month, so that's why we had thought about just focusing. What's the holiday? It's Memorial Day to Fandango. There would be 4 weeks, and we could do 4 consistent concerts, and then not do July for everybody traveling, trying to get back to school. But I'll also bring up the idea of having 2 in June and 2 in July, if you guys think that's a good idea too.
And maybe still do your last one in the park with your,
It's supposed to be at
the market and the
OC
other.
next year, isn't it? If it's built.
If it's
Potentially,
finished,
yes, we've talked with them about potentially doing it there. So
Where?
And I think when you had 8 for years and years, there was nothing downtown. And now there's Torchy's playing music on Saturday night, and there's
right,
Have
sidebar
Sidebar,
has
Sidebar's
music
got
every
music.
Friday.
there's music around.
Right.
OC will have it, so
Yeah.
I don't think it will hurt to cut it down to 4.
I agree.
Every 2 weeks. like
Well, I
you
think
said.
demographics play a big part in that. Look, I mean, I have to face fact. I'm the old guy now. I'm 51 years old. I keep thinking I'm the young guy, and the music. You got to realize at 51, my music was from the 80s to the 90s. So
Right.
you listen to old rock, and you listen to R&B, and you listen
Yeah.
to the 80s rock. That's my era. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, and I'm the old guy. So jazz is an older, even older, setting of people that are ahead of me. So.
Right.
I mean, the jazz era, people are in their 70s and all. And even though I like jazz, I mean, it's not going to be the thing I'm going to rush out to. So I
Right.
think we need to look at demographics and look at the type of music and the age groups that we're trying to draw out there because.
Okay.
you know,
So y'all's
we're the old
suggestion,
guys,
just
so.
to be clear, is 2 in June, 2 in July, or 4 in June, or still do the 8? What would y'all like? me
Not
to do?
8.
4 in June.
Yeah, 4 in
Just
June.
Everybody travels.
And then maybe, I like the 4 in June. It's not
And
as
it'll
hard.
depend on the acts too, so.
Yeah.
I think you need to change up some of the acts to reach a more wider variety of people.
Absolutely.
Instead of the same selected group.
I agree.
And who do we want to start coming downtown? Looking for some different bands to start bringing the people downtown to see what we have.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
And y'all like it all at the Ector, or y'all want to see 2 inside, 2 outside?
It's
I,
hard.
So if OC
if you
does
ask me,
have
I'd say
their
indoors. Though.
green space
Is
up and running by then, are they going to have their own, or is it If we do outside.
We
how's that
haven't
gonna-
had those full conversations yet. They have said that they're interested in partnering with us on our events like that. So that might be a question that we answer later down the road.
Leadership won't double dip on that. I mean, we're not going to have a hot summer nights and then they follow up the next day with their own event or something. I mean, not intentionally.
Yeah, so that's
They're
what I'm
not gonna
saying.
compete.
It's, with that being brand new, I think it's gonna be hard to not have something out there on Friday nights.
Yeah, I think they'll offer. I mean, for our event, to be.
So maybe 3 there and 1
But it's
at
still gonna be
OC
hot.
if that works.
Right. Okay, well, we can leave that part open and I can have a meeting with them to kind of gauge where they're at in June,
Okay.
or April, and then we can circle back and chat about what that will look like. So
Sounds
But
good.
I don't think that deters. I mean, I don't think that helps or hurts the decision to go down to 4, right?
No, no. I still
Okay.
think 4.
So y'all are on board with doing 4 and doing them a little bit larger, reevaluating the acts that we're
Maybe.
bringing in, and maybe having a panel to discuss that.
Night 3 and 4 pending location.
Right.
First
Okay.
2 at Hector.
I
and then
agree.
3 and
Yeah.
4 pending
Now,
venue.
are we gonna do it just all in June or do 2 in June and 2 in July? Or
I was under the impression 4 in June is what
I like
heard
June.
said.
What do y'all think?
July's so hot.
Because we know
But if they're gonna be
Fandango, we're going to have
You got
something for
Fandango in
4.
July, yeah, you've got.
Right.
And then it's so
Yeah.
hot and everybody's on vacation.
And of course, the following week, that's where there was a lot lower turnout after Fandango was
70,
so big.
yeah.
So you're automatically, the week following is probably not gonna have a great result to begin with. So that's 2 weeks out of that month already where you have the Fandango and then you have a week that doesn't do
Right.
so well. So
That's pretty simple.
Okay.
that kinda covers half the month there already.
I think you can't decide till you find out if OC wants
I
it.
think so too. I think
Outside.
we have to leave it up to that.
Just say 4 and then wait, because if
4 pending
they're
dates.
not doing that and it's too hot, then you can do 2 and 2 and do 2 in
Right.
June and 2 in
Okay.
July at the,
Yeah. Okay.
whatever you wanna do.
Yeah, and we might take your idea and do June at the park, at the OC park, and then July when it's a scorcher, move those to the Ector and see what that looks like. And I'll meet with Odessa Arts because again it's a partnered event, so that's a 50-50 discussion. But I'll let them know that y'all's feedback on that. So.
Perfect.
Painted Potter, again, we kind of touched on that. There was that one complaint that we had, and so we've got a policy together so that won't happen in the future. Lowriders Against Bullying car show is coming up August 19th and 20th. The 19th, they will start loading into the parking lot at the courthouse. They're going to have their cook-off that night, Friday night. Saturday, they're going to start blocking off the roads on Texas. They will have a car show. They have about 100 cars that they're going to bring out. And then they have 2 stages of entertainment. The other stage will be at 2nd in Texas. And they have 5 musical acts playing, 5 different bands coming in. And then an actor from Blood In, Blood Out. I don't know what movie that is, but he said that's a pretty good movie, and he's really excited about it. They are partnering with ECISD to do a back-to-school drive, and so they're expecting a lot of folks. I know that they got with the Marriott, and a lot of them have reserved rooms at the Marriott, and so it's going to be kind of a back and forth. They are going to shut the streets down from Saturday at 6 a.m. until Sunday at noon. So it will be an overnight shutdown. That concert's not going to be over until 2 o'clock in the morning. In an effort to get all the things picked up and give them enough time, we're shutting that street down until noon.
Is your staff going to have to be present till 2 a.m.?
No, we will not. This
Okay.
is a partnered event, and so what we'll do is we'll make sure that I'm there at 5:30 when the street gets shut down to make sure that it's shut down properly. And then it's on them to make sure that all their vendors show up and all
Okay.
of that. I'll show up again before alcohol can be sold to make sure that it's fenced off properly and that they're in compliance with the TABC rules. I'll do that. And then I'll show up Sunday to make sure that everything is clean and picked up before the road is opened. We can't remove any barricades until it's all cleared off.
So it's barricades, not fence.
It's barricades and fencing because they're going to have alcohol.
Yeah.
So I'll
And then the
verify.
organizers responsible for the cleanup.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, organizers are responsible for all the cleanup. I'm helping them get the dumpsters from Keep Odessa Beautiful, and then I'm helping them get a roll off from the city and scheduling that and things. But as far as their TABC permit, we didn't want, I'm not pulling that. I know in the past, my office has pulled it on behalf of organizations. I don't think that's smart, so I'm not doing that any longer. So we will guide them in that process. I'll walk them through what they need. I help them get the letter that they have to have from the city manager, but we're not going to pull it on our name. So all of that is done through them. I'll just be there to make sure that everything's running smooth and that they have the proper accommodations for the crowd. West Texas Fest, again, is another partnered event that's going to happen on September 24th. That's going to be on Texas. They're selling tickets. We're helping promote that. And again, we're helping them pull the city permit to close the streets. We're working through with them on logistics and things like that. But all TABC and all that will be in their name. Insurance, everything.
Good.
Downtown Art Tour, we've changed that to October 28th. This is going to be an art tour just like we did in April, but it's going to be Dia de los Muertos theme. And I'm going to need some recognition for saying that word right, finally.
You nailed it.
Okay, so we're going to start off with mariachis and the folklorical dancers at the Ector. We're going to move to John's Garage, and we have a florist coming, and folks will make a flower crown, a traditional flower crown. We're going to go to Sidebar, and I have a local church who's going to set up a traditional altar, and they're going to explain the tradition of the altar, what that means, and how it relates to this holiday. And then we're going to go do salsa tasting at Torchy's Tacos, and we have a painting activity, and then we'll move, and our final destination will be at the Marriott in the courtyard, and we'll have a demonstration of a signature cocktail and a card that they'll take home with the recipe and the how-to. So
Cool.
What time does it start?
it's tentative right now for 6. Just instead of doing instead of doing 5 groups of 20, we're going to do 4 groups of 25 to get it moved through quicker. And we're going to do 30-minute stops instead of 15-minute stops. One of the complaints that we got last time is they didn't have enough time at each stop. And the other complaint that we got is that people wanted more explanation or more hands-on. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to do each stop a little bit longer, and they actually have something that they're hands-on doing, not just being presented. So, thoughts?
Sounds good.
You have thoughts? I can see it in your
How
face.
about 25 minutes and 5 minutes for questions, or 30. I guess it's still 30. I don't know if it was the amount of time. To me, it wasn't that it was only 15 minutes. It's that when the group arrived to the next stop, they were not prepared and ready to do the demonstration and then offer, to share about what they were doing. I think
Right.
if it was they were prepared and more organized, I don't think time was that big of an issue. That
Okay.
was just my experience. But I know the later groups. I think that was
on.
the first group. I think the
Yes.
later groups, it may have drug on, but I think the vendors finally
Got
presenters
it
started
together.
Yeah.
getting it together.
Yes. Yeah, so we've taken all those notes into consideration. We're really talking to the vendors, making sure that they're there earlier, that they're set up and they're ready. So when the first group arrives, it's a faster thing. So we're talking all through the logistics. This is tentative. This is what we would like to see happen. Some of these ideas might change, but this is tentatively what we're doing. So. And we might change it to 20, 25 minutes. It depends on, I want to make sure that they can do a traditional flower crown in 20 minutes. And while they're doing the flower crown, I want them to understand why there is a flower crown and what does that mean and how is that related back to the tradition. So I want to make sure that we're being respectful of the tradition.
On the flower crown, let's get together and see how they're going to do it. They may have to start it then just let some people do some finishing of it.
Right.
And do other things.
Yeah, our thoughts were that they'd already have the crown portion made, and so everybody would just grab a crown portion, and then there's already cut flowers, and they're just sticking them in and putting their decorations as they choose.
And have one person doing the talking.
Right,
how-
exactly.
And then one showing how to make it.
Yes.
So we've got,
Yes.
that was the problem
Dual.
with this, the glass. They didn't have time to explain what they were doing. They were just making it.
Right. We got a lot of that feedback. Yeah. And they loved it, but they want more tangible things that they're doing, and they want more explanation as it goes in. So that's what we're
First
working
one
on.
went really great overall. A few speed bumps, but really great. So I think it's just going to be better.
Is there any opportunity for like Odessa College or ECISD to bring, maybe it's not for this year, but like start a conversation about maybe having a graphic arts or digital arts or something that it's young folks putting together something that's a stop.
Yeah,
And maybe
absolutely.
that's at OC when it's built.
Yes.
Having them out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about, I believe Odessa Arts is reaching out to ECISD, OC, and UTPB. They said that typically there's an art show around October, and so they want that art presented maybe along the walk somewhere or at each stop. There's different artwork at each stop to kind of incorporate that. But I do like the idea of a digital art. And I think...
And it should be, I think, one of the ECISD or UTPB, OC, or
They could do something
collectively
cool.
do something. I think.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Okay, I'm going to put that down. And we'll reach out to them and just see what's available. So, next up we have Treats on the Street. So this is what we're doing for Halloween this year. We've thrown around a lot of different ideas. I know in the past or last year they did like a trunk or treat in a parking lot. My goal always is if we're going to have an event, it needs to relate back to downtown businesses. And so I want folks to be in the businesses, not in a parking lot. And so we're going to do it very similar to how we did Easter, where you have to go to each business to collect. What I've created is a punch, like a stamp card. You go to 10 businesses that want to participate, get your card stamped, and then you're entered in to win a drawing from downtown Odessa. We have a lot of prizes left over from Easter. We have a big screen TV, a hoverboard, gift cards. So we're just going to recycle those for this. And we're just calling it Treats on the Streets, where people and businesses sign up to be on the map. We'll create a map, generate it. It's going to be October 31st on Halloween from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. so that the businesses don't have to stay up too much later than they typically would. For the businesses who don't want a large crowd inside their business, they can set up right outside of their business and not have all the traffic in their inside if they don't choose to, or they can. So
Is that saying the same thing that we had in 16 and 17?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
perfect.
To the layman, it's still trick or treating, right?
It's
Yeah.
still trick or treating. Yes, it's
We
just
had
getting
fun.
them out.
Remember we set up in front of James Big and Tall, and we just
Are you
Yes.
also going to go over
Yeah.
about sponsors?
it was
But yeah,
crazy.
so businesses can sign up for free if they want to just be a listing on the map. It's no charge to them, and we'll list them on our map. All the businesses are responsible for their own candy. We'll provide the stamps and the cards, the maps, and all the advertising. If they want a logo on the map for their listing, it'll be $100. And then we're looking for $1,000 sponsor to help cover all the cost of printing and advertising. So
Did Gavin's, have you had your meeting with
I haven't
Gavin?
had a chance yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of throw that out there and let you guys know that we're going to move away from the parking lot and go back to actual trick-or-treating and get them out in the businesses and walking around. We had a lot of response on our Easter that they didn't know these businesses were down here. So even if they're not actually physically going in, they're at least seeing what's out there. And I think it's important that we get them walking downtown, get used to walking the streets. And so this is our way of trying to get that back.
Perfect.
For Christmas this year, New Year's Eve, I've thrown around the idea of having a projected countdown. I've been doing research to try to find a company that could do that. I haven't found one yet. I have Odessa Arts helping me in my research. I just haven't found one. I found a laser light show. It's not the same thing, but there is a company that can do a laser light show display. I have an email out to them to see if they can do like a numbered laser light show display. So even if it's not like what I had originally envisioned, if they can shoot a laser that says 10 and then change lasers that says 9, that would still accomplish what we're hoping to accomplish, and then see if that's something they can do. If not, I'll reevaluate and figure out what else our options are. We're getting kind of down to the wire. So that's kind of the update there. And then on the parade, I had a meeting with Parks yesterday, and we're starting that ball rolling to get the parade. Registration needs to open in October. So there's a lot of pre-work, and I'll be calling you, ma'am. Your name was brought up a lot in that meeting about folks who are really familiar with it, because as you know, I'm not at all. And so it'll be a learning process for me, but I know there's a lot of folks that have done it before that can help me out. So that's going to be on December 3rd. And our market will be on the same day. So we're going to do, like we had talked about last time, instead of teddy bear tea, we want to do free pictures with Santa the day of the parade. So day of the parade, you can bring your family downtown, get pictures with Santa Claus, drop off your letters to Santa in our mailbox, shop at our market, and then go bring your family to the parade and have a great day downtown. So
I like it.
So the New Year's Eve, that's going to be outdoors?
yeah, so that my original plan would be, again, to support businesses downtown instead of having our own event that takes them out of those businesses, would be to partner with the businesses and bars that are downtown and do like a joint effort party where they're going to these different businesses and bars and celebrating, and then at midnight everybody comes outside to see a projected countdown on the Prosperity Bank building.
You can't take that beer from his bar to your bar.
Would we
I'm on the
close
street.
Because
the Main
we're
Street?
not an entertainment
Grant?
district.
No, we wouldn't close the street. We would just leave it open, and then as a selling point to get folks downtown instead of to our east bars or wherever, it would be the conjunction of the partnership with the countdown. If not, I'm gonna reach out to just the local restaurants and bars and see what we can do to partner up and maybe do like a rotating happy hour or something where we are not necessarily spending funds, we're just helping advertise and having like a theme for our downtown New Year's Eve. So
For liability, instead of a rotating happy hour, we're kind of encouraging them to drink at every one of our bars and get super drunk. What about you just talking to the downtown and labeling it, I don't know, downtown New Year's? And then each person has a bar
and a drink special or something.
and put their drink special, whatever, where it's not encouraging you have to go to all of them.
Right.
But who's doing what?
Right.
He's got this band, he's got this going on. She's
Yeah.
got a countdown.
No, that makes sense.
Just to promote your downtown bars or who's open for that New Year's, because when we did it at the Marriott, we've lost our butt a couple times, and they're doing their own thing this year. So I kind of like promoting, because he'll be open by New Year's, Homemade Wine will be open by New Year's.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll have 5 or 6.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of my thought. If we don't have time this year to put together a well thought out plan that makes sense for us, that's encouraging and accomplishing our mission, then just getting with the downtown bars and
I agree.
restaurants and seeing what we can do to help bring everybody together and have like one big advertising campaign to encourage those folks to come down here.
You
So
can't walk on the street sidewalk here drinking.
maybe
You
partnering
can't-
with the Marriott to see if they have some kind of special that they can do, like come stay downtown and have a great night or something like that. So we're working through those right now. So okay, old business, discussion of grants and status updates. Ambler Law, I have reached out to several times. I finally got in touch with her assistant. Her assistant let me know that she left and then came back a year and a half later, and that nothing has been touched since then, and so she was unaware that she thought it was done and completed. I told her that it has not been, and we really need those documents, so she said she would pick it back up and start working on it. So we have a meeting to kind of go over it, refresh her mind, and let her know what I'm needing exactly. So I'm very hopeful that will be wrapped up soon.
Or have a letter. They can donate it back.
Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say on that, did you give them like a deadline, or? Is it
I
just
don't have a
open-ended?
deadline. Yeah, when I talked to legal about it, what their options were to send them a letter, just like a reminder letter.
Okay.
That there's no stipulations currently, or previous when this went into effect, there was no stipulations on a time frame for reimbursement. That has now been corrected. It's now a 90-day stipulation that you have to get your stuff in to be reimbursed. They were grandfathered in, or whatever you call it, because that wasn't in effect. So
Yeah.
we've talked to legal about potentially reaching out. They can't really use verbiage that says you only have until this time, because there's not a time limit on it. So we thought maybe just a letter from legal might be encouraging. But that was prior to me talking to her assistant and who's back. So I was going to meet with her, see how things were rolling, and if we can't get it rolling, then we might move with that step.
Okay.
Petty Cardio, they are in the process of suing their contractor. They're having a lot of issues. When I originally looked at this, I thought it was up in July, but it wasn't actually signed until November of 2021. So this doesn't come up, their year is not over until November of 2022. And so when we were looking at this, because they will have to require an extension, we spoke with them and asked if they are going to want to file that now or closer to when they might have more of an idea of how the lawsuit's going. And they've chose to file it in October. So in October, we're going to request an extension from the city council, from ODC and the city council, and see how that goes. She should have an update on her lawsuit by then. So, Icon Tavern, I talked with John, and he tells me that things are going well and that they're hoping Icon is open in October, which
I will have to file for an extension on that. And what's holding us up, we've got a couple of things. Number one, kitchen equipment is just delayed. It just takes a long time to get it in. The big thing is we've been waiting on Encore for well over 2 months now, because our building holds all of the main circuits for all the buildings that are there. And so we have to wait for them to come in and cut in, fix that stuff and do that. Now we're on the docket for them to fix it now, but we've been on delay for well over 2 months on that to get Encore to take care of that. Luckily, we're going to be able to move our box, but then for them to fix the rest of it, they actually have to dig underground to fix it because the wiring that goes to Los Optical is damaged and it needs to be repaired. So I have to file. We're just not going to be done in time in September. So September 29th was our deadline.
right.
So I need to put it on the next meeting for ODC
Okay.
to get an extension.
What has happened with sometime when they were burying some of the lines and other stuff, there was a problem. So if you look on the back of Lassa and the electricity's like all stupid and mess, and we couldn't figure out why.
It's bad. It's bad.
That was a temporary fix they did several years ago, and we're supposed to fix it and didn't.
Yeah.
So now they're actually fixing it, and everybody knows right now with our wonderful electric company, all the great people are retiring, and it's hard to get much done. But they're on that.
Okay. I can get with legal and find out what we need to do to get you on the. I don't know if we'll be able to get you. The next ODC meeting, I believe, is the 17th. So we might be able to get it in time to get you in this one. So I'll find out.
Owners, contractors, designers, everybody met yesterday for some final changes and some other little things. Equipment for the kitchen, everything else is getting ordered. Coca-Cola to do their install and stuff used to was 30 days out or so, and they're like, no, we're 60 to 90 now. So we're pushing as hard as we possibly can, and like all the restaurant equipment, that we're pushing really hard because it is going up like 20-25% again.
Okay. Okay, Little McJack, they have been approved and started their construction. There was a little hiccup with permitting. There was some delays, but I talked to Joshua McDonald this morning, and they are really pushing to hope to be open by the end of September.
Where is that located?
That's the old insurance
Gene
agent.
Collins.
Right, the old Jen Collins right there on Grant, next to Tiny Toes and Amarion.
Okay.
And then for par 2, he has not signed. Anthony has not come in to sign. I have his contract. I have everything ready. I've had it ready for almost 2 months, and he has not come in to sign. I've reached out to Mr. Rios several times, and he says that he's aware. He just keeps forgetting to come by. He's been really busy. So that's on hold until I can get his signature.
Wow.
And then once I get his signature, I can keep processing, but I can't do anything
I'll
until
call
he
him. I'll call
signs
him
it.
after this
Okay. Homemade wines, they have signed, I'm sorry, this should have been updated. They have signed and we got all that processed. They were approved to start work on Monday or Tuesday of last week. And so they are rocking and rolling. She is over there. She's the general contractor and she is cracking the whip. So they should be open. They're saying October. We'll see. So that's their plan for now.
I told her she has to be, because my garage that you're using in October is currently her warehouse.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
we have to have it out.
Yeah. Application was submitted for Medical Center Hospital. Again, after doing research, nonprofits are not eligible for grants, and so I met with Allison at Medical Center and went through that. Churches and nonprofits are not eligible, and so I kept it on here just so that you would know that they submitted, in case anybody reaches out to you and asks questions. They're just not eligible. So that's it. Anything else that you guys want to see on the agenda for next month, other than the things that we talked about?
If in between staff changing and you have a meeting and you need someone to hang out at your office for an hour or so, holler.
Okay.
Different ones of us can help as much as we can.
I'm hopeful that we'll have at least one person in before Audrey leaves, but I don't know. So it'll be
Audrey, you
interesting.
can't leave till there's someone else in your place,
I'll
okay?
answer phones for you.
There's
Yeah.
the new rules. You
I don't
can't
know if
leave
you get
till
your
you find
messages, but I'll
replacement.
answer phones for you.
Deshaun, don't laugh. You can't
Thank
either.
you.
You can't leave till it's all replaced. So
Yeah, I
you
know.
gotta stay
I'm
till we
very
find the
sad that we
perfect
have
person.
a great team right
Yeah.
now,
So
and
what are you doing next? What are you doing
You back to school, right? You
back to
said?
school.
You went downtown?
Yeah.
Yeah. I sold Johnny's barbecue too.
So I guess
All right.
we're good.
Thank you all.
Everybody,
Thank you.
everybody said, all right, meeting adjourned.
Three restaurants, I was up to 8.